Some parents and students also ask, before they take the vaccination, do they need to do anything special? Like, do they need to fast, anything? Is there anything special?
No. Yeah, just adequate, not over, adequate hydration, and that's about it. Yeah, certainly there's only a fast. I mean, it's you can treat it as a normal doctor's visit. Yeah.
That's great to know. Yeah. So I think at this point, I'd like to invite Ms. Liew and Ms. Chua to come in to address the final set of general concerns that our participants posed to us. If you would like to take any of these questions on the slide.
Okay, thanks, Sharon. Parents can certainly accompany your child for vaccination, whether they're 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, or 18. I'm not so sure the 18-year-old child would want you to accompany them, but certainly you can. But I do understand that some of the vaccination centers may have some issues with space. So they could have a family waiting area for you to wait because the vaccination booth could be quite tight. I'm not sure whether Dr. Lee has any more information on that part of it, whether they can go with the child to the vaccination booth.
Okay, I'm not aware, but I don't think it's a problem. But I do recall my mom accompanying my dad to the vaccination.
I see.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess if your child is a bit worried about it and perhaps maybe mild special needs, just ask whether you can accompany all the way to the vaccination booth. I think that's perfectly within a reasonable request. I will leave the side effects and whether the medical fees are covered to Dr. Lee. And I will answer the question on why can't this exercise be done on site in school. I think you are quite well aware that we do have HPB has the school health services where they actually provide some of the services in our school where they do the checkups and they also provide the MMR boosters, etc. in primary school and secondary school. So in this case, because this is a nationwide exercise and there are a lot of, we've got millions of people trying to be vaccinated within a short period of time. So it is actually better that we can use the national infrastructure to be able to do this because of the large numbers that we have to accommodate. And since it is more convenient actually for everything is all set up there, we can actually get as many students as possible through, as well as being very convenient because parents can choose the time, can choose the location, and this would be a bit more amenable. So we thought that we'd do it this way. Dr. Lee, do you want to talk about the medical fees?
Yes, I will do that. So yes, the government does cover the medical fees in the event of any side effects. So, but of course, we're not talking about the side effects of like local arm pain or anything like that. So that's not included. So there are actually three categories that we're concerned about. So one, of course, the allergic reactions that require hospitalization. So there'll be an amount that there's a certain payout, and my understanding is like $2,000. All right, and the person subsequently recovers, of course. If the person does require intensive care, high dependency care, and things like that, the amount goes up to a one-time cost of $10,000. And the third category would be those who unfortunately does not recover. And this, I should stress, is extremely rare. In fact, the three categories should be extremely rare in the first place. All right. In the event of the person being unable to recover from the allergic reaction, then there's a one-time payment of $225,000 from the government itself. Yes, so there is a payment, but certain criteria do need to be fulfilled first. So and certainly not the very mild ones that most of us will probably have. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Ms. Liew and Dr. Lee. And with that, we segue to the final set of concerns and questions from participants. I think some parents are concerned, like, what if your child doesn't want to get vaccinated? What should you do? And what will the schools do about it? I think I will ask all three panelists to share their advice and also their words of encouragement.
Okay, I guess I can answer the question as a parent. What would I do if my children show some hesitation? I would probably go by going by reason, because I know at least my older child, reason works for him. Whereas for my younger child, it is more of an emotional connection that she has. So I would talk about, both your grandmothers are a little bit older and they are susceptible. So we want to protect them. So in order to protect them, we will have to take the vaccination. And that is how I would approach it for my younger one. So thank goodness I don't have an issue, because both my children are quite happy to take the vaccination. So the older one has taken it and the younger one has said no problem, and she's signed up for it. So that is my advice as a parent. I thought I would also respond to the question about whether your child would be at a disadvantage in school if he or she did not take the vaccination. Absolutely not. Because we do understand that could be very good reasons why. And even for our educators and our staff in schools, some of them are not medically eligible to take the vaccination. Or perhaps some of them are in the past, the family ways. So at that point of time, they were advised not to take it. So there is no distinguishing. They will not be set apart. They will not be put aside. During the exams, they will all be taking it together. So I can assure you that there will not be any penalties. But I do want to encourage you, if they are medically eligible, to do so that we can protect our students, protect our schools, and we can be sure to be able to keep teaching and learning going. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe if I can just pick up on this point that Wei Li just made about keeping teaching and learning going. That's exactly what we're trying to do here. For the institutes of higher learning, they have very large campuses. Some of our autonomous universities have tens of thousands of students and staff on campus. Not currently, of course, under the tightened precautionary stance that we are taking nationally, but in a business as usual situation, we do have a lot of people on campus. And of course, we're not in a business as usual situation. And today, the on-campus presence is so much more reduced. We have very few on-campus teaching and learning activities going on. And we do think that that is really not ideal and not sustainable. We could do it for a short while. Obviously, we have been doing with online learning and teaching. But for the full educational experience, this is really not the way to go. So I think part of that effort to get us back to that optimal learning and teaching experience for our students and staff is to have as many people vaccinated, of course, those who are eligible for vaccination, as possible. Of course, there are other things we will need to do as well, including some safe distancing measures, etc. But we hope that over time, with more people getting vaccinated, with a significant or the vast majority of the population getting vaccinated, we would be able to resume more of these on-campus activities in a significant way, and resume some of their teaching and learning on campus that all our students and staff love to see. And I think that's the goal here. So I would really encourage everyone to think very seriously about this. I think Dr. Lee has shared very well about the safety of these vaccinations, and we understand that you will understandably have some concerns, but we strongly encourage you to think carefully about it and consider and balance the risks overall.
And any final words from you, Dr. Lee?
Yeah, so I would say that from the public health perspective, and certainly, and this will project out to the wider community itself, and some sense of or rather closer to a new normalcy that we will hopefully see at some point, is that we are trying to get as many people vaccinated as possible. And it's quite clear vaccination is a key strategy, and not just in Singapore and in overseas country as well, to get as many people vaccinated as possible. And once that is done, it's we're talking about protection, not just amongst the vaccinees themselves, and a certain degree of onward protection, prevention of infection to other people at the same time. There will be a group of people who will not get vaccinated. All right. Regardless of how wide we increase the eligibility criteria or expand the eligibility criteria for that matter, and there will be a group who will not be vaccinated for various reasons. So either medical conditions or others, all right, personal beliefs and things like that. And therefore there's a need to ensure this thing called indirect protection from those who are actually vaccinated as one additional strategies for them. And therefore see it not so much of just yourself, the vaccinated, but also the rest who are not vaccinated at the same time. And the closer and the more people we have vaccinated, the ability for us to increase or to expand or have more social activities then increase. Certainly, for example, we do want to go out and dine in restaurants, for example, and things like that. And we don't want to hopefully go back into a situation like what we're in right now because of outbreaks in various pockets. And therefore, vaccination is a very key strategy that we are pushing ahead. As for safety concerns, yes, I think there will be ongoing and there will be lingering concerns about safety, short-term safety, long-term safety. I just want to reiterate that this is an evolving field. Just as we are expanding or loosening the eligibility criteria with regard to contraindications, the people who can actually be vaccinated. So now, if you recall, pregnant women can now be vaccinated. That's because we are convinced that the evidence so far allow us to do so. It wasn't the case earlier. We didn't vaccinate or want to vaccinate children earlier because the evidence weren't there. And now the evidence has shown that it's actually safe, and therefore we started vaccination of the adolescents, children and adolescents. And this is an evolving field, and therefore there will be new information along the way, both from overseas as well as local studies. And based on what we actually observe and analyze, we will certainly fine-tune this particular strategy over time. And I guess a question that interestingly is not asked in this particular forum, but in other fora, is really how many jabs do you need? Or rather, how many is this jab a lifetime thing? This is a golden question that all of us want to know. Is this a lifetime jab? As in your life, you convert lifetime immunity? We don't know. But I think increasingly the evidence do suggest that some regular booster may be needed. And again, this is something that we only know months down the road, and we don't have the answer right now, because this does have important public health implications. All right, and just like flu vaccine, we like advising everybody to take it annually. For the elderly, the pneumococcal vaccine as well. So these will all come in when more and more information surface. All right. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Dr. Lee. And thank you, Ms. Liew and Ms. Chua as well for sharing all your knowledge and the information. I think we are moving towards positive times, and we all look forward to better times and healthier times and safer times ahead.